Alright, we're going to be checking out this Jayco GreyHawk. This is the 2016 model. This is 29 MB. It has the J-Ride Plus suspension on it. We have some outside speakers, one here, one aft. We have our water heater. This is our Insta-Hot. It is a Girard water heater. We got our Atwood furnace on this and our refrigerator vent here. So come back to our Girard water heater here. You push this little door handle inward towards this way. That releases it. Inside here we have an off-on switch. When you're ready to go camping, all you have to do is turn that on. Now that engages the whole water pump. Sorry, not the water pump, the system. Engages the system here. So then we can control it by the inside controls. And then you can just close that and forget it. We have multiple outside compartments. One here for storage underneath. This one here is our propane tank. So we have our propane gas valve. So we turn this to the right to close it. Turn it to the left to open it. We have our fill gauge here. We have our filler. And then we have our vapor here. You just always want to leave that closed. Now your propane filling station technicians will take care of all this. So all you have to do is pull up to your filling station area, and whichever place you have this unit getting serviced, meaning filling the tank, you can have, they'll know what to do here. You don't really have to worry about too much, except this is off and on, and this is how much propane you have left in the system. Then the compartment aft of the propane station there, we have an outlet and some TV hookup connections there, some coax and RCAs. Those go into the inside of the coach, and you can have an outside TV. So if you want to watch a game while you're outside, you can hook up your TV and your cable there and pick up the channels from the interior. We have our propane furnace here. So this is going to give you all your heat and needs inside to keep you nice and warm during the winter. We have our refrigerator. Now sometimes this refrigerator vent could get a little dirty, so to clean the inside, we're just going to take these here, open these up, bring this down. All you have to do is just wipe this area out of any cobwebs and everything. We have our plug for our cooling section on our refrigerator here. This is the burn tube, so this is where all your exhaust and everything for your when you're running your refrigerator off of propane gas, it will go up and out, so be careful, don't touch any of this, or it's the black parts here. Above me here we have our vent for our stove cooktop. We have our dual rear axle tires, meaning we have two tires on the single axle. We have our exhaust for our coach on this side here behind the tire. We have our LP quick connect right here. So if you have LP products with a quick connection, you can connect it to here. This is regulated by your regulator on your propane tank, so this is a low pressure output. We have our secondary speaker here. We have a very large rear compartment. This has not a nice amount of storage on this model, so the previous owner has installed a rack so you can partition your storage here or use it fully if you want to. You also have a light inside here as well. Right now I have the disconnect off. We're going to go all the way around this unit before jumping inside. Now this door here is a slam lock, so what you're going to do is you're just going to go ahead, slam her closed, like so, and that will keep it nice and closed. Now we're going to go to the aft of the vehicle. On the back here, you do have your rear mounted ladder, so you can gain access to your roof to check your sealants. Now, I recommend checking your sealants after winter and after summer, as they're going to be your most extreme weather conditions as far as hot and cold goes. So all you have to do is get a lap sealant, whichever color is the same color. I believe it's a manila style of a color up top, so either a gray or a white would be fine for you. You want to make sure it's self-leveling and not anti-sag or non-sag. So self-leveling lap sealant will keep all your sealant up there nice and secure if said stick would be sticking and prying into it, or you kind of wiped a branch across the top where it starts to rip up the seals under there. So it's not that critical of a big deal. Just make sure you take care of it right away. On the back here, we do have our 7-way plug. And this is an extra line for the car tower line. So if you have a car dolly tow, you can hook that up to there with your auto brakes feature. This does have the rear mounted camera, so you do have a backup camera equipped on this model with a nice bedroom rear window. Now we're going to start aft and go to the forward. You have another compartment here. Inside this compartment, you do have your water closet. So you have your 2 low point drains for your hot and cold. We have our connections for our water system. So this here shows you your positions of function. So 2 and 6 is going to be city fixtures. So you're going to have this straight up, and this one to the right, like so. I gotta turn on the disconnect on that. So you just have to follow these to do their functions. Now all these functions happen at your city water connection. Your city water connection is located right here. The one labeled city water connection, that's going to be the connection where all of those functions will go through. So if it's on country fill or sanitize, it is going to use your freshwater pump to run all the full suction off the line through here. Now, big recommendation if you're going to do so, you pull this cone out like so. Because here's a little screen. This little screen here, you want to make sure it's nice and clean and free of debris. This here has a backflow preventer on the inside of it. So all you do is take this washer, push it in like so, and that will release any type of pressure that's in it. Right now it has antifreeze in it. And the fun part after it's wet is getting it back out. So the easiest way to do that is with keys or a knife. Pull it out just like so, and then you can put this back the original way. The reason you want to have that backflow preventer pushed in when using the fresh tank draw is so that the water can flow freely into it. Now this is your black tank flush. So you'll have your black tank valve open, hook up your hose to here, let the flow of water go through here. This will start to swirl around the water in the black tank, allowing any deposits that are still trapped on the corners after flushing it or dumping it. It will flush it all the way through, helping to let everything come out. Now you want to do that every dump so you can make sure you have a clean and empty black tank, so that no paper toilet paper. You want to make sure you use RV certified toilet paper so that it degrades faster and doesn't paper mache on the base. You want to use that to help it come all the way out. Now those valves are located underneath that last compartment right here. So what you do is hook up your dump tube to this connection here. You take off this cap, turn to the left to remove, put your hose on, run that hose to a dump station, put that hose in the dump station. Once that's done, you're going to go ahead, pull on this black valve here, like so. That's going to empty the black tank all the way through the hose. After that's done, you're going to leave that open, hook that hose to that sewer black tank flush. Let that come out until you see it's really, really crystal clear. I recommend getting one of those little clear plastic extenders so you can watch the color of what it comes out. Some might be a little grossed out by that, but it's kind of a necessary evil. Once that's done, you're going to go ahead and pull the gray tank. The gray is going to be all your faucets, drains, so like your kitchen sink, your shower, your bathroom sink. That's all going to be the water from that, so that's going to be food waste and such. That's all going to drain out, and that stops the unit from being super septic. Helps clean out that tube, so you can go ahead, take your garden hose that you used on the black tank flush. One part I missed. Turn off the hose to the black tank flush before closing this black valve. So all the water comes out. Once that stops, then you can close this valve. That goes with both of them. So now that we have our garden hose off of that black tank flush, we're going to take and flush out our dump hose, allowing any excess to come out so we know it's 100% clean and clear. And then you can stow that away. Right here is our gas cap for our unit. So you can just go ahead and fill your gas right here. We have our rear bedroom slide, and then we'll have our main slide, which is our dinette and our couch. We have our exterior shower. Now this shower has hot and cold in it. That's going to be the CH751 key. It's the silver little key. So you have your shower, your hot and your cold. You also have a water pump switch here as well, which you can turn on outside as long as the disconnect's on. That's going to be hot and cold from any source. Now the reason it has the water pump in there is so let's say you're out on the beach, you have water in your fresh tank, which holds, I think this one holds 40 or it holds 60 gallons. You have to confirm with your salesman on that. You can turn on your water pump that will take water from that fresh tank, bring it through your system, and then you can wash yourself off, get rid of any sand and debris so you don't track it in your unit. Now, talking about the fresh tank there, right here is our low point drain. So all you do is open that up. That will drain out your water from your fresh tank. So if you want to clean it out, you can do that. I recommend doing that after every trip so that the tank dries and doesn't have algae buildup inside of there. Now, if that does happen, you can fill your fresh tank with a cleaner saline, and then, as per the instructions, just follow the instructions, but this is your drain point. Then we just have another compartment with ample amount of storage. We have our house battery, so this is going to be the battery for the interior space. Has a little Moride holder here, which is nice, so you can pull it out. You want to check the levels inside this battery, I'd say once a year. If it looks a little low, just fill it up with denatured water, distilled water, and then just let it go and charge itself. There we are. That is on a key, which is the 751. Next compartment is our short cord and our cable hookup. So this is our short cord. That's about as much length as you get. Now you can take and run this through the base here, right here. Like so. go ahead and close that. Now this is a 30 amp connection, and you can hook this up to 30 amp shore power. Sometimes the tabs get a little bit bent. You just pull them out a little bit with your hand. Now this here gets plugged into a 30 amp service, which I don't think I have one on that side, which is going to be on the opposite side, which I'll show you what that plug end would look like, and then you can plug that into there. Now I'm going to see if this one reaches, and I'll be right back. Alright, right here I have a 50 amp outlet, 50 amp outlet. This is a 50 amp to 30 amp plug. I'm going to go ahead and plug our 30 amp into the adapter. Then I go ahead and just plug our adapter right into here. That gives us shore power into the coach. Now this is only 120, so this here takes and charges our batteries, keeps everything nice and proper. And I mean batteries, I mean just battery on this specific unit. This uses 30 amps of charging power to that, so this is going to be the quickest and fastest way to charge that. This is also equipped with a generator, so we can go over that in just a moment. I would tend to say try to leave this plugged in as much as possible if you're going to be using it, but if you're not, just leave the disconnect off after the battery's been fully charged, and you'll have no problems next season. So we're going to go over to the generator, and I'll go over that with you.
Ready? Go ahead.
Alright, so this is our Cummins quiet gas generator. This is a 4000 model. So to open up the panel to check it out, we're going to turn these two knobs, lift up and out. In here we have our resettable breaker, so if we use too much air conditioning and we let it freeze over from having the door open too long, right here is our resettable breaker. We have our start stop on the generator itself. We also have one inside. We have our dipstick, so we can check the oil level. So it's in the hash mark, so we know.
Hang on a sec. Oh, go ahead.
So we're in the hash marks, so we know we're good and clear. Always make sure you put this back in and make sure that knob is tight. Right here is our air cleaner and air filter. We have our relay and our PCMI control board for this generator. Now, to start this, right now I'm unplugged from shore power. I just unplugged after doing that first demo on shore power. All you have to do is hit start. So I'm not going to try to scream over that because I bet the mic is going to clip. So the reason it takes so much time to crank over and start, because I bet you if I just hold this for a moment now, it's going to start almost instantaneously. Now, if these units sit for a while, what can happen is the gas can run down out of this line to find its lowest point. You do need more than a quarter tank of gas for the generator itself to run, so you don't have to worry about being stranded in the bush when you're out and about doing some dry camping. This here will power your whole interior space of this unit. So pretty much run this as much as you can. It helps keep everything lubricated. So if I found an older unit with low mileage on the generator, I'll be a little bit more skeptical unless it's a brand new generator that has been installed. So we're going to find out how well this one was maintained when we go inside. You always want to leave this cover on when running the generator. So you start it and then you just go ahead and take this cover, push it back on, and then lock it in place. This here is your exhaust port for your generator. And just keep in mind, if you have neighbors or anything camping next to you, try not to smog them out, and try to keep your generator usage to a minimal at night as people are trying to sleep, or very early in the morning. As me, I'm a night bird, so that really annoys me when I'm out at camping ground. Now we're going to go over the chassis. So we have the E450 frame on this one. So this is a Ford chassis, E450 Super Duty. You do have the side view cameras on this as well as the backup camera. We have our emergency start at the entry here. So let's say the chassis battery died because we left the ignition on accidentally overnight. We could just make sure our disconnect's on, push this button, and that will give power to the chassis, allowing you to start the unit. We'll go over the dash and everything close to the end of the video. Right on the left-hand side is the hood release and your emergency brake. One thing that tends to happen is if it's raining or snowing, this area will become a drip area. So that's kind of why I'm trying to move out of that location as I am getting water tortured. So try not to stand in that little location. So we have our hood release right here, our hood prop. So this is our trans fluid right here. We have our oil fill, which takes 5W30. We have our chassis battery, so in the instance of you needing to jump it. We have our window washer fluid filler here. This is our air filter for the unit. Our dipstick for the unit is actually right here. Kind of a little bit hard to get to. Right there, see that little ring? This here is all the isolator for the house from the chassis. So this is the relay that you're actually turning on when you're pushing that little button. We have our power steering fluid, our brake fluid, and our antifreeze for our system here. This one is equipped with the J-Ride Plus and does have the front license plate holder as well. So if you want to customize that, get your own license plate holder, you're more than welcome to. These units do have the cab over, so you will have speed storage up top. Now we're going to see if we get lucky here. So this does have the keyless entry in it. Okay, so that does mean that it's, right now it's on the factory setting. There we are. And we can open it. And then we're ready to go. Now it's locked. Now, blue indicates that it's operating. Green means that it is locked or unlocked. And red means that it's in proper code. The other thing I always forget to do in my demos is this does have the awning that goes all the way from almost the rear, almost full wall covered. Taking out the space here. There we go. Just missed it. This does have the awning lights on the outside here, and there is none on here, but you do have an outside light itself. Always make sure you roll this back up this way so that the gray's on the outside, because if you do it the other way, you can get water trapped in it, and not a lot of people like cleaning, like myself. Find that has a really bad task, so I try to do it to a minimum. So if you leave the gray on the outside, it will roll up nicer each time. And closed. You always want to bring it in until it's completely flush before going away, or that can become its own sail. I'm going to have my camera lady come inside and I'll go over the controls. Alright, now we're at the entry door. Here's all of our controls and our main control panel. So this here is our awning in and out, labeled as such. This is the awning light, which is going to be the awning light on the end of the awning tube. This is your speaker select, so inside and outside, since this uses the chassis radio on the dash. We have our main battery disconnect, which is right here. When it's red, it indicates that it's on. When I push it again, the light goes dim, everything goes off. So this here is going to kill all 12-volt power to our unit. Then next to the grab bar handle, we have our interior lights. We have our power step, which is this one right here I'm standing on, and the exterior lights. Now what the exterior light is the light over by the entry door. I don't know if you see that.
Yep.
We have 120 outlets. Our propane and CO2 detector is right here. We do have our screen door at our entry. So with the steps to the on position, you can see that the steps have retracted. And when you open it, they're going to come back out. So always look before you leap. Now to leave the steps out, you push out the step power off. Now they say out and unretracted. That one doesn't. So when you're up inside, the blind for this main entry door is right here. So you just bring that down until someone can't see it. Now, over top of the countertop there, we have our slide out controls, which are right here. You can push out. That'll bring out your main slide room. And then next to that controller there, we have our monitor control panel, so we can check our battery status, our fresh tank, our black tank level, our gray tank level, and then we have our water pump right here. So that's the same water pump switch that is outside in that shower compartment. This has the Xantrax XM1000. So this is a 1000 watt Xantrax controller. So what this does is takes that 12 volt battery, converts it to 120 volts. To operate this here, you just push the button until you have your status light comes on. Right now we're charging at 14.3 volts, which is fine. The battery is probably just discharged just ever so slightly. Then we can see this one here, they changed. I've been working with the Xantrax X Freedom for a while, so it's a little bit different. So this one here isn't going through its checks, but it's operational and it works fine. You don't need to worry about having this on when you're plugged in, so you can leave it off. The only time you'd want to use that is if you're not trying to use the generator and 12 volt power only to like run your lights, because all your lights inside here are going to be 12 volts. Pretty much everything inside a unit is 12 volts other than the air conditioner uses 12 volts to control 120, and your fridge, which uses 12 volts to control 120 systems on the refrigerator. Everything else throughout this whole unit is primarily 12 volts. Your TVs are also 120 volts, so that's the other reason to use the inverter, to have your TVs on when you are not plugged in or running the generator. You do have another generator start here, so this one has 35 hours on it. So they probably just didn't run it that much, since this is, what, 2007? 16. So they probably didn't run it that much. I would recommend running it at least half an hour once a month at minimum. So you just go ahead and hold it, and then the generator will start. You have the light indicating that it's running, and then you have your stop to stop it from running. Now, in the beginning of the video, you saw me turn on that power switch for the water heater. This here is your water heater control. Right now it has a red light indicating that the outside is on. Now, if you ever notice that this light's not on, go outside and make sure that that white switch is to the on position. Then we push the red button. We have our temperature there. Let me put it to Fahrenheit. There we go. Now we're on Fahrenheit. So you can change your temperature of the water that you'd like it to be. Now, when you're using a Girard water heater, what you need to do is, if you want hotter water than its maximum output, which is 124 degrees. If you want more than that, just slow the rate of your water until it gets really hot, and then you're fine. And then once you're done using the water heater, you can either turn it off or just let this alone, as it will only turn on when it sees demand. Meaning, if you have the hot water faucet open, it will start running. So now we're just going to walk through and go through the rest of the components in this unit. We have light switches underneath for the countertop here. We have an extended countertop here. So we have more workspace. Inside here, you do have all your drawers. Have some more drawers and storage. I would always recommend to put all your heavy pots and pans in the lowest compartment, not in the drawer, because the drawers can come out in transit. So if you put it in a cabinet, it's going to be less likely to come out in transit. You do have a nice sponge holder and soap bar holder. You have your corrugate countertop and double bin sink, retracting hose for the hot and cold, your line. Now, normally on all these RVs, you have your windows. These windows here are a spin type, so you can open them up. And you don't have to worry too much about rain except for heavy windage rain. So if it's light rain, it's just going to hit and go down. Heavy rain, I would recommend closing them so it doesn't get pulled off. And I would recommend not having these windows open at all during transit, as it can pull those windows off the tracks and then they go missing and cause a lot of damage. But we have some more storage above head. The one outlet in here with the gray plug. This here is your microwave. And that's right here. This microwave also works as your exhaust fan, which is right here. Now, if you're going down the road and you're worrying about rattles and things, that's going to be your first culprit. So you can take out that plate and take out that spin wheel, or wrap them in a towel and then put them back in there. And that will get rid of most of your rattling, because you're going to hear this every time you hit a bump. You have some more storage up top here. We have our stovetop and stovetop cover. So this one here goes forward. So we lift it up like so. And then it holds back just like so. I have the propane on outside, and then I can go ahead and push these on to like so. And then the only one that you will need a striker for is your oven, which is an alright size. And we have another series of drawers. This is the Cummins Onan manual, which is this one's I think it's a DVD.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this one's a DVD. So I'd recommend watching this front to back and really learning about your generator and maintenance. We have our Jensen remote for our Jensen TV, which we'll go over in a few moments. And this is the Jensen radio control as well. Some more drawers, and I was just checking for any other remotes left in this unit. Then we have our Norcold refrigerator. This is an auto and gas refrigerator. So to turn this on, we push on. Right now, you can see the line. This indicates that it's on AC and on auto. Like so. And then I go ahead and hit mode. It's going to be AC only. So if we unplug, it will stop all cooling from this unit. Push it again, brings that line over to LP gas. That's only going to use LP gas itself, nothing else. So you got to make sure you have your battery disconnect on and your propane tank on. And then mode again brings you back to auto. So when you're unplugged from 120, this will go from AC to LP gas, keeping your cooling unit operational while going down the road. So inside here you have a lot of storage. And a decent sized freezer as well. Now you'll notice on these handles here, you have these little gray things that pop out. These are so you can go ahead and leave these propped open so they don't close. So when this is in storage and you're not moving it, it will hold the door open, not allowing any real mildew to accumulate on the inside and prevent mold from happening after you clean it, after taking all your stuff out. If you just push them back, all you have to do to lock them is just push them forward, and then they won't come out in transit. This one has a nice large pantry and a little extra pantry. We're just going to go around this section, and then we're going to go around the bathroom and then the bedroom. So on the opposite side of this unit, we have our RV comfort control. This is our thermostat. This is going to control hot and cold and fan speed. Right now it's pretty chilly, so we're going to try to warm this up. So we're going to leave this fan mode on auto. We're going to go ahead, put this on gas heat. Put our temperature up to like 80. Even if we want it set to like 60-ish, you want it set to 80. So that's going to allow it to warm up the unit uniformly. After it gets pretty warm in all sections of the coach, I'd recommend putting the temperature down to where you're comfortable. That helps preventing any quick cycling, as let's say you want to add 75 and then it gets cold and hot, cold and hot, cold and hot. So if you start at a warmer spot and bring it down, it helps short cycling to stop. Now, all the stuff is, your furnace is underneath your refrigerator. All your vents are going to be the little black vents that are underneath, like the kitchen sink there. And then you have these gray vents that are one right here. That's going to be another furnace vent as well. So I'm going to let that warm up because I'm starting to get a little chilly in here. We're going to go over the dinette. So you have your main dinette cushions. So this is your main regular dinette setup. You have two overhead lights, and the switches for that are right here over top of the couch. Same with the couch lighting are farther to the right. So to take this and make this into a functional bed for your guests, underneath you have a latch. You release that latch, take these, pull these up. All you gotta do is push that down. Take these two ends. And then push all these down them together until it makes a nice bed. Now me, I'll kind of sleep diagonally, but it's very, very comfortable since it's 4 inches of foam. Now when you're putting this back together, on the back of the dinette seat, you do have straps. So that helps it stop from falling forward. Underneath the dinette seats, you do have some more storage and your seat belts. So you have your seat belts, always make sure they're not over or under any paneling. And then you have some more storage space in the underneath section here. Bring those up like so. Put those on. Same goes for this side. So completely in this dinette, you do have seating for 4. And then you can bring this up all the way, and then you have this little lock, and you push it up and in. Now there's like a little white block that's underneath. Just make sure that bar is in front of it, and that will prevent this from going down. On these dinette seats, you do have 2 drawers, one there, one here, and underneath that dinette there, farther back, you do have a 120 outlet located by the legs. These are the same style windows as in front of the kitchen sink, same as behind the couch here. So you got 2 matching seat. Now the couch itself, this one is a pull-out style. So you pull it up kind of like a futon, and then push it down. Now this one has fallen down, so you have one here. And one here. So you have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this vehicle has a total passenger capacity of 8. But you do have some more storage over top of the chairs. Now over top of the captain chair and the passenger chair, you do have this whole bed. Now this bed has its filler. Push down like so. But first I gotta grab the ladder. So you fit that bed in place and take your ladder, hook it on the hinges there, and then you have a nice amount of space up here. Now for your TV, you have a switch right here. This switch allows you to bring your TV outward. I recommend angling it like so so you can sit from the side and watch it. We have our TV remote here. It's not going to be for this one, because that one's a Furrion. This one's a Ginseng. Wondering if this has that second TV in the back. Give me a moment. I'm going to see if I can't find that remote for you. Alright, so I'm going to have the salesman locate you one for this TV, as I have not been able to find one. But it does have its controls over here, so at least you can see that it's not a broken screen. There you are. Screen's functional, no cracks, no craziness going on. Well, you know, for the cable mount. So there's no cable hookup to it, so you got to reprogram that for bunny ears. So the light switch for this one here, it's going to be on the right hand side. Right here, it's a white switch at the top of this rail. It's really a horrible location for it. So that's going to be these two lights. Now if you pass me the camera so I can capture this part. There we go. So right here, this is going to be our spot with all of our controls. So this here is our TV booster. We're going to go ahead and push this. When the green light on this one here is on, like so, that indicates that this here is grabbing antenna signal from the King Jack booster, which is located on the ceiling. Then we have our satellite line 1 and line 2 hookup right here, and a 120 outlet. And this does have a little spot right here that you can put a DVD player for the kids up here so they can watch their movies. And here's the hookup, which is already plugged into the TV's backer right here. All you do is push that through and it'll come up the top, and you can plug that in. And then they can watch DVDs up here, or whatever you want. So I'm going to leave that on so we can get at least channels in the back one, so you can see at least that the antenna's working. There's the King Dome antenna right there, the white piece on the roof. Now we're going to go over the bathroom and everything. Now the AC works the same as the furnace. You just got to make sure it's switched to AC, because I just realized I didn't go over that. These are your AC ductings. You can move them around or close them off. I recommend leaving them open all the time and closing the dump valves for this. So you always want to make sure these here are closed when you're running the AC. Now the biggest thing is what happens on new owners is that they leave these open when trying to cool the unit throughout their whole stay, which actually freezes up the cooling unit. So you'll have cold air coming out here and going directly back in these two intakes. Now these two intakes you can take down to clean them, like so. So you just brush these off. And then put them back in. So to prevent this from freezing up to where it stops it from cooling, all you have to do is shut these and leave the other vents open, and you can run that all day, as long as you don't have that door open all day, all night. And that will help you keep the airflow flowing through this and then cooling down the unit properly instead of just this one little section. Now we're going to check out the bathroom and all the facilities back there. So I'm going to steal the camera again and talk, so sorry for the shakiness. So on the driver's side here, we have our controls. This is the bedroom light switch. We have our slide room control and our fantastic fan room control right there. I'm going to bring this slide room out. This is on the Schwintex slide rail system. Now I hold that until this slide no longer makes sound and release. Now that we have room in here, I'm going to give you back to my camera lady. Box there. So on this side, this is going to be your toilet. Open this door all the way and slam it into the jamb here. That puts it in its jamb holder so that you can have privacy. So this is your main door between the two, so you can use that way, or you do have your accordion door that locks like such. And you have your clear holder, which is just a little button lock. We have our bathroom. So all of the lights for here are right on this side, which is aft of the door. We have our shower light, which is on the opposite side, which is that one. We have our bath light, which is the overhead light in the hallway. Then we have our bath fan. Our bath fan is this one right here. Now this one here is a manual one, so you're gonna have to open this up, let the air out. Just keep in mind this does not have a max air cover, which I would recommend to get, so you can leave that open during rainy days and not worry about too much water intrusion. Then we have our tank heater. What this tank heater is you're only gonna wanna use this when it is about, I'd say 48 to 32, because 32 is going to be freezing. This here stops it from freezing when it's overnight. So when you're in that really fall, going to like families for Thanksgiving, you're going to want to turn this on if you have water in the system. We got our toilet paper holder, our sink. We got a nice dual vanity, which has upgraded pieces from the last customer. Some little holders. This is really different. I mean, you can take it out if you want. Shower ring holder. Now inside this one here, this is the Gfi Outlet, which is right here. So to reset it, if it's tripped, just go ahead and push that like so. Here's a toilet paper holder. I don't know when it's off. There we go. We have our some more drawers. We have our storage compartment. In here is our water canister. That's going to be our water filter for our whole unit. This does have two valves on either side. You can shut those off when you're going to change this, so you don't have pouring water in. And then we have our toilet. So to operate the toilet, you're just going to go ahead and push down on this lightly. That's going to allow water to fill in. It's going to be a little bit faster than that since I don't have any water to this unit since it's been winterized. When you're done filling it, decent amount, you can release, do your business. Once you're done your business, just stomp that all the way down. That opens up the valve, allowing everything to go down. Now, make sure you use this RV toilet paper as it can damage the inside there. Now we're going to check out the shower. We have our shower door lock right here. You can open that up, like so. We have our shower with our hot and cold. Shower head, you have a nice skylight. This here, you can take it out when you're showering, leave it in. You can use it as a nice little extra space for wardrobe. It does have a magnet lock, but I do recommend closing this when you're going to get ready for transit. Now, we have our bedroom back here. I'm going to switch again with our camera lady. So they tape this here. This has a little light there, so some people can't sleep with things in the way. I'm just going to put that there if you want it. So we go ahead and hit TV, hit power.
Don't mind me.
Now we have channels to there. This one's flush mount, so that's not a compartment behind that. Now, right now it doesn't have no channels, so we're going to hit menu. That's going to bring us up to our channel selector. Go over to channels, switch air cable to air, bring it down to auto scan, press enter again. That'll bring us around to start channel surfing again. You have a nice sized wardrobe here, all the way from top to bottom. And then you have a very large picture windows and a his and hers wardrobe. This is one of the larger ones I've seen. Only one that's comparable to the same size is in a Class A bus. We have our bed here. Our bed has reading lights on both sides, which have their own switches on the lights. We have overhead storage here, which passes through to the other side with its hinge holders. And then to get to some storage, you can easily get to the storage by lifting up the bed. And then you can gain access to the same water closet we were at earlier today in the beginning of it. And you have your light switch there. Now that it's operating is because we have that battery disconnect on. Now underneath that bed there, we do have our power distribution box. This here is going to have all of our 12 volt fuses and our 120 breakers as well. And this does house the power converter inside of it. Now in the bedroom here, we do have an emergency exit, which is at the rear of the vehicle.
Let's dance.
So here's our rear window. You can go ahead and push that open. You push it all the way, and then you can exit the vehicle in the case of an emergency. This isn't a vented window, so this will stay closed primarily all the time. Then you have your rear blind. Above me is that fantastic fan. Sometimes you might need to push it twice to let it go open. The fan automatically turns on once you open it up. And you can control the fan speed with speed. And then you can control in and out if you want it to blow in or out on that controller as well. So you can have airflow in or airflow out. So that one's in right now. And once you're down and done, push the off button and that will close it and turn off the fan. And throughout this whole time talking, now we have some bunny ears going on.
So there's a culture log, and also know that it's back it up in 2 hours. We started earlier in the morning, especially for a lot of our suburbs to the north and west of Philadelphia, and up towards Apple.
And so this is the remote, the Jensen remote is for this Jensen TV, putting it in that compartment. Now we're going to go over the chassis, and I'll see you there. Alright, so I'm at the chassis, got the key in the ignition. I'm going to turn it on, set the emergency brake all the way down, and now I'm going to be able to use the equalizer system, which is the jack system. So we're going to go over to that. I hit the power button. Oh, this one's a little bit different than normal. So this one here, I gotta have the ignition off. But I do need to have the emergency brake down. Now that it's off, I'm gonna go ahead and hit auto level. That's gonna level this coach. You need to be plus or minus 2 degrees side to side. So to make up that difference, you can go ahead and put blocks underneath the one side or the other side, and then put blocks under those corresponding pads
since you're gonna have 4 of them all the way around. Now when this is operating, you don't necessarily want to be walking around the coach so that the bubbles does its thing. So the best way to do it is actually from the outside, right at the entry door, so you can go about your day, kind of. It only takes a few moments to set up though. There we go, we got the 2 beep indicating that now the unit is perfectly level. And then you can go about your camping. I always recommend running the slides out, then doing the leveling, so it can level it properly. But you can level it, then put the slides out, and it will be just as good, but not like super perfect. And then when you're ready to leave, all you have to do is hit auto retract all. And then the whole jack system will auto retract everything as far as all the jacks. And then after it's done operating, you can go ahead and turn on the ignition and go down the road after you do your leave check. Checking that your short cord's unplugged, your slides are in, all your camping equipment's stowed, all the food and everything's closed away properly before you go to leave. We're going to go over chassis. This does have an auto lock and unlock, and does have an emergency horn. You have your ignition key, which is this forward one right here. These 2 here are going to be your entry doors. These one here is going to be a compartment, and this one here is going to be all your silver compartments that are not slam doors. So, our chassis, we have our mileage to start, which is right here. You can push this little black button on the dash. That changes from trip A to trip B, and then you can long hold it to clear the mileage, so you can try to do a little bit better fuel consumption tables. We have our hazards in the very center. We have our lights on the left-hand side. First one's just going to be all your marker lights. All the way over is going to be your headlights. To put on your high beams, you have your stick on this left-hand side here. Push it forward. That will put on the high beams. If you need to just flash somebody, just pull it back and it will flash them. You have your window washer fluid by pushing in. That will engage the window washer fluid to wash the window. You have your speed control on the left-hand side. You have your cruise control, which is right here. You set it by pushing it on. So you're gonna be traveling, and then it will have a little indicator that it's on. Then you have off for it, reset, set, accelerate, and coast, your horn. You have your gear selector here. Pull forward, bring it down to go in the drive, up for neutral, reverse. When you put it in reverse, you'll have your backup camera come on in your center dash here on the radio. When you're driving, it's going to turn off to the radio. You can turn it on with just by pushing this knob here. Now when you go left and right, it should turn on the cameras. I'm going to give it a moment just here to kind of wake up. So right now I'm in a horrible Farad box, being our shop. There we go. So you do get radio stations in here, but right now you don't. So when I'm going, turn on the left. When I have the left, you can see the slide room out. Turn on the right, you can see the right side all the way down. Then reverse will go right away. In a moment. There you go. That's reverse. Put it in park. We have our AC controls here. On the left side is going to be your AC and vent. On the right side is going to be your heat, mix, and defrosters. We have a high and low speed fan here, a 12-volt outlet, a delete, and a 12-volt outlet. You have your vents here, so you can close them, open them, and spin them to the direction you want. This here is your dog box, so you can take that up if you need to check out your engine. Turn off your lights is on the left hand side. So this is your radio. This radio here has, you can check out your cameras. So like your back camera, backup camera, side cameras. Like so. We have navigation on this one. I'm not sure how up to date or what version it is, but you can use it as a GPS. And then you can check, find your destination that you want to go. You can find address. You can put in the state that you want. So you got like Delaware, and then like Baltimore. So you got the air base. You got back Mongolia, Delaware, and stuff. You can search by the street name, and so not. And whatnot, and then you can find it, or you can find places like your interests, like a gas station along the route. And it shows you all your closest stuff, and it'll keep on showing all of it, like the Wawa. After you find what you want, you can click next, new route, because that's our new one, or you can make it a waypoint or along the way. It'll show you the closest way. Gives you a countdown here until you touch go. There you are. And then it starts your navigation, tells you everything that you need to go. Right now it's looking for GPS satellites. Since we're inside, not going to get that great of a signal. It needs clear line of sight. And then if you want to stop the destination, you push this little symbol here. I'm not even sure what that symbol is. Push that and click cancel route. Cancel route. And that stops all the routes that you have been making. We have a radio, AM, FM. Save a channel, just long hold it. And I'll save it to it. Like so. We have our CD, we have our Bluetooth, USB. Sirius Satellite XM is available for upgrade, so meaning you can buy the module and put that module on this one. We have NOAA weather alert. And then we have AUXs and Zone 1 and Zone 2. You can turn the panel off the front. And then you have your dimming control. And then you have all your settings. I'd recommend trying to find the manual for this one, which you can locate online. Just type in JRV 215N, which is the model number, and you can find that manual. To have a little bit more knowledge on me, I just have a general knowledge of everything. Don't know 100% of everything, but I can set you in the right direction. Now you can go from your source. Here, let's go back to the radio. Alright, so we have your radio, and then you can click nav here. That'll bring you back to nav, and back and forth. Underneath this panel here, flip it to the right, you have your USB and your AUX connection. And this here has a micro SD card in it. This micro SD card is your GPS brains. So if you want to update or do anything with the GPS, you can do that through this little SD card, which goes in the slot here. but you need a little bit of a thumbnail to get in there. And then you have your volume. And then your off on button, just hold this and it will turn it off the radio and everything. And then we have our Ford manuals here. This here has a light. This light indicates that the jacks are up or down, which is right here, this red light. We have our speaker or microphone for the phone part of that. We have our driver's seats control for front, back, up and down. And then our forward and back tilt. And rear back front tilt. You got your cabin chair armrest on both driver and passenger. You have your map lights. And those are controlled by the dimmer here. And your doors opening and closing, being opened and closed. You have your windows here, which is auto down. Your lock and unlock. Your left and right mirror adjustments. This switch here is if you have ice or any type of buildup on your mirrors. This is going to be your heated mirrors. And you got your visors. These visors don't have any mirrors on them. And I think that pretty much covers this whole unit as far as accessories and just small tips and tricks and this layout. The only other thing I can think of is during the summer you might need to leave your refrigerator on for 48 hours for the whole cooling unit to cool down, since it runs off of the motion of heat, versus the household refrigerator, which runs off a compressor. So try to keep that in mind. If you're planning a trip during the summer, plug in the unit, turn on your refrigerator on 120, and let that cool down for 2 days. Any other questions, you can definitely call and talk to your salesman.
Yeah.
And he can run you through all the specs and everything that he has a little bit better access to than myself.